Hi, I'm Joan. I live in Lagos. I'm a plant and gardening content writer for my website, plantsintropical.spaces.com. I write about enlivening living spaces with tropical plants. My aim is to inspire DIY gardening culture in my community. And when I'm not writing, I'm in my garden, holding my horticultural skills, or making videos like this. Today I want to speak about easy plants we can style our homes with. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the very first plant I have on this list is Aglaonema golden bay. This is an Aglaonema golden bay. It's growing in water, and nothing can be easier than this. Aglaonemas are notably low light tolerant plants, so they can survive in our indoor spaces or indoor lighting conditions. What you want to do when you bring your plants into your house is to make sure it faces the light source. So in this condition, in my living room, I have my windows facing east, which means they get the morning sunlight. When the sun rises in the east, the sun shines on these plants for about 5 to 6 hours every day. And so my plants are within about a meter from the window. So this Aglaonema here has been here for about 2 years, and it's doing quite well. Next to it, I have a very popular, almost common plant. This is a Philodendron Bulmax. I must admit that this plant isn't growing, taking the shape that I would like it to take. So I'll probably take another one. It's actually looking for light. It's not getting the best light in this place, but it's quite a common plant, and it's affordable. You can get cuttings from anywhere, and you can just have this plant growing in water. It's really as easy as that. So next on our list is the genus Epripemnum. This is the genus where you have your popular golden pothos. This actual variety is the Epripemnum neon, or commonly known as the neon pothos. It does well indoors. If it receives the right amount of light, the leaves are neon colored like this. These are older leaves, probably not getting enough light, which is why they've turned green. But the plant is alive, which is the most important thing. I recently wrapped the plant around the pot because it had grown too long and was touching the ground. So it's now looking a lot fuller and shorter, which is how I want it to be. And the next plant is my very favorite Aglaonema. I believe this is the Aglaonema Red Valentine, and it does quite well indoors. So you may notice that many of the plants that grow indoors are green, and that's because for plants to maintain their vibrant color like this, they require more sunlight. But the Aglaonema varieties can maintain the vibrant color even in indoor conditions, which is why I really love this genus of plants. So Aglaonema Red Valentine maintains the red vibrant color, and it can also flower indoors. Remember, it's also facing my east window. It's near the east window, and it's getting a very good amount of light in the mornings. Next on our list is the Sansevieria laurentine. It's quite a common landscaping plant here in Lagos, and it can be used as a house plant indoors. The truth about Sansevieria, at least from my experience, is that they prefer brighter light, so they don't really like dark corners as many people claim that they do. So if you have a Sansevieria growing indoors, if it's not getting enough light, it will not grow, and we could risk killing it through overwatering. So what I do with this Sansevieria to keep it healthy is I have 2 pots of Sansevierias like this, and I alternate them. So I take one out. There's one outdoors at the moment, and then when this one has been indoors for about a month, I would change them around. So I never water my Sansevierias while they're inside the house. Low maintenance in a way, but it works for us. Okay, so come over, let me show you some more plants. Okay, so the next plant I'd like to show you is the Peace Lily Domino. This is a variegated peace lily. It has these white streaks. It's not very common. The more common one is the dark green form, and that grows a lot faster indoors. So this grows much more slowly. Now, typically plants with variegation, that's plants that have any coloration in their leaves apart from green, require more light or higher light intensity to maintain the variegation. Otherwise, they may lose that and they start turning green. In other words, they start making more chlorophyll to be able to survive. So, and here I have another setup of Aglaonemas. I have this is an Aglaonema Snow White. I cut this plant out, cut it up from a much bigger plant I have growing outdoors, and I just like this setting. Just put it in a glass of water here. This is another Aglaonema from a slightly bigger plant. It broke off from the plant, so I dropped it in water, and then this is what I have. So these plants have been growing like this now for several months, and they will continue to grow like this until I take them out. So I change the water for my plants that grow in water. I change the water every maybe 2 weeks. I know I should change more often. The reason why I have to change the water, and I use rainwater by the way, is to ensure that the plants has the nutrients, sufficient nutrients from the water. So rainwater contains enough nutrients for plants, which is why I use rainwater. I don't use any fertilizer for my plants growing in water. And here is another Aglaonema. You probably are guessing by now that Aglaonemas are my favorite plant genus. So this is Aglaonema key lime. Aglaonema key lime, yeah. So the issue about this Aglaonema, what I'm noticing now is that it's losing its yellow variegation. It had some yellow streaks along this mid vein. The mid vein is actually yellow initially, and in the course of the year, it's been here for over a year. As a much smaller plant, it's quite grown now. In the course of the year, perhaps on cloudy days, the intensity of the sunlight is not as high as on sunnier days. So the plant doesn't get enough sunlight to maintain its variegation. But what's important is that the plant is alive, and it's healthy. So I would leave it indoors. The mother plant from which I cut it is growing outdoors, and it's fine. And on this table here, I have a Phalaenopsis orchid. So the orchids, the Phalaenopsis orchids are, from my experience, they're the only orchids actually that you can use indoors, because the other types of orchids is like the outdoor conditions. They need more sunlight, they need more moisture from rainfall, wetting every day. For the Phalaenopsis orchids, I don't have to water it every day. It's growing in some, this is the potting medium in which I bought it. It's some bark, tree bark. So aeration, it's providing aeration. So when I want to water it, I'll just basically fill a container like this with water and drop it in here. This is due for watering now because the roots, I can see the roots here, the roots are grayish. When I've hydrated the plants, the roots become green. So it can stay here blooming indoors for 2 months. I've had it for about a month now. The lower blooms are spent and have fallen off. So it's an easy plant to keep indoors. And when it stops blooming, I will take it out and perhaps get another plant or another orchid to put indoors. When it blooms again, I bring it back indoors. Okay, so let me show you some more plants that I have in this corner. Alright, over here I have a Sansevieria trifasciata honey. This is quite a common house plant here in Lagos. It's also quite affordable as well. The thing about this trifasciatas is that it's also called the bird's nest trifasciata, bird's nest Sansevieria by the way. So it grows in this rosette pattern, which means it likes to have a light on the growing point here. And so I don't think it's a good candidate to be indoors in a dark spot. So what I do with this Sansevieria is that I have several of them growing around the house or outside. And so on my windowsills, I just bring in a new one every week. So I change the plants every week, bring in a new one and put it here to decorate the space. That way the plant doesn't rot. So I never water my Sansevierias inside the house. I always water them when they're outside so they drain properly because they're prone to rotting. Here is Monstera adansonii. This is a popular house plant as well. It's surprisingly tolerant of low light conditions inside the house. Interestingly, I started it off in this section, and the sun was bleaching the leaves. So the leaves, when they have exposed to too much sunlight, they sort of turn whitish. So I moved it further away from the window, but it's still within about a meter from the window. So it's an interesting plant to have as well. It's fast growing. I had it as a really small plant, and it's had all this growth inside the house. So it's quite an interesting plant. I like the fenestrations on the leaves. It's a conversation starter. You can have this in an office and your desktop, and people are quite fascinated by the holes in the leaves. I enjoy when people ask me if the holes are natural or if the plant is diseased. I'm very funny, like I'll keep a diseased plant in my house. So, and it grows bigger leaves, by the way. So when it's growing outdoors and climbing up a pole, the leaves get a lot bigger. So last but not the least, here in this section I have another Monstera. This is the Monstera pinnatipatita. It grows quite big leaves when it's climbing. I cut this plant from one that's climbing a tree outdoors, and I put it in water, so it's growing in water. The beauty of this Monstera, I think Monsteras generally tend to maintain, they don't shed leaves, so they tend to maintain the leaves that you start off the plant with for a very long time. So I expect this to be here for a very long time. If it doesn't, I don't expect to have leaves as big as this when the new growth comes out. There's a new growth coming out here. If it's not impressive, I'll probably cut it off and just maintain this look for as long as I want. So it's growing in water, like just rainwater. I don't add any fertilizer to my plants growing in water. Right, so for all these plants I've shown you, these are easy plants that you can start your home with, and I've written about them on my website, so you can check out the articles there and get to know more about these plants. There are other varieties within the genus of the plants I've shown you here, and so you can get familiar with some of those genus and see the plant care requirements for tropical countries, which is why I write about plants in tropical spaces. So I'll show you the next plant, which is just right behind us. Right, so the last plant I would like to show you is the Philodendron hederaceum. This is the heartleaf philodendron. It's I'm growing this in water, and so I just took cuttings from a plant I had outside, and it's been growing in water for about 2 years now. I believe I just brought this one in, so the initial plant I brought was about this, the leaves were about this size when I brought them in. So as it grows, the new leaves come out smaller. It's really not getting as much light as I would like it to have because it's further away from the window. It's about 2 meters from the window that it's leaving, so that's fine. I just change the water every 2 weeks or so, and the plant is fine. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and consider subscribing to the video. I write about enhancing living spaces with tropical plants in my blog, so please do check that out. I'm also on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, and you can DM me your plant questions. And thanks